Hello there, and as usual, I'm Aaron from Laststandgamers, and welcome back to the Laststandgamers server. Today we're conducting another tour. This time we're up on the moon. We can see we're actually in the Ceverus system. We've got ourselves the moon and the Earth-like planet in this one. And we're keeping it quite stock with a few basic changes. Basically, the DRF are quite hostile in this world, threatening players and causing some mischief. So let's have a look at the various different bases. And I'm going to try to include some of the smaller ones that you guys have been requesting as well. So we're actually at, let me just verify their name, go to the entity list here. We're actually at the brackets dot factions base. Now this is a moon base. Every base placed on the moon is under direct threat from the DRF. Basically, the DRF will come over on patrol, so you've got to make sure you have some tasty defenses at your disposal. And it looks like these guys are pretty heavily armed. They've got this massive sort of turret system on the top. They've got solar panels pretty much everywhere. They've got themselves a few smaller type ships, not giving them any sort of classification because it doesn't really work that in Space Engineers, but they're kind of like a frigate looking ship, you could say. They've got some interesting looking defensive systems in here. I thought they were decoy blocks, actually gyroscopes on the side there behind the armor blocks. And of course, we've got ourselves some good old missile launchers behind doors at the front. Sometimes they do catch on each other, but not too bad at all. It looks like we've got some other ships here protected behind a wall of tires and blast door blocks, all hung up in the ceiling there to keep them out of the way, and some miners down below. What I do quite like about this moon base is this statue over here. It's pretty interesting. It looks like an individual wearing a pair of Speedos, and it's obviously got a decoy block in all the right places. There's also some other little statues that are taking place at this base. It's quite a cool one. It's definitely it's very stylistic, I like to say. We've got another one of these little statues right here with these decoy blocks in this here, just diverting some of the turret fire away from the main base. So let's actually go to the entity list, and I'm going to jump through a few different locations. So we've got the dot faction we've looked at. Let's have a look at DBS. Now DBS have been to the moon a few times, and the first base got destroyed. This second little base is what's prodding out of the planet's surface right now. It looks like just a basic starter outpost for them on the moon. They've got a much larger Earth outpost. So let's keep on going. So EMD, what are these guys all about? Now, the thing is, since we're taking a look at some of the smaller factions today, you're going to have to take in consideration that they're not going to have loads and loads of stuff. Got themselves a nice little pier scene there out of this door. And this looks like, oh, he's got a nice moon view from the front of his base there. Nicely camouflaged in the side. Only some basic turrets. I guess he's relying on more camouflage to keep him safe. He's got a large hangar door taking some work there as well. So let's continue going around. So we've had a look at EMD. Let's have a look at ONI. ONI, another smaller type settlement. A little larger. It looks like they've chosen to build in a desert type canyon. They've got themselves some decoy blocks out front. They've got themselves a nice turret tower here and there to protect them from any incoming intruders. What have they got here? They've got themselves a cool little hangar starting to be dug out here and leading around the back. Oh, it's like a candy trail of a base. Does this lead just up and around into a giant cavern? Oh god, they've really mined out in here, haven't they? They've got themselves some cool little ships tucked in this area. The hangar continues going on around the back there. More ships tucked in that area. Cool little hangar facility. I thought this was a small base, but we've got some classic nano-type looking fighters here with his colour paint scheme. Very nice indeed. A cool little base. A nice use of that mountain. That upper hangar looks awesome as well. So let's continue going down. We've had a look at ONI. Let's have a look at this Russian base. So it's only small. Someone's starting out there. Let's have a look at XT, another small starting base. Back to Dash, they've got a few of their things spaced out in space. Of course, we've got ADI. So ADI, now ADI for the last few times, they used to have quite a prevalent sort of feature on the server a long time ago. We saw them a lot in the underworld, but for now they seem to build a little bit and then stop quite early on. So they've built themselves a little thrusty rover, maybe to get up into space. Another little rover over there. And they've got themselves some various other fighter type ships taking that's interesting wing design, but pretty cool indeed. So let's move on from ADI. So jumping down the list, we've got BDI. Now, what could the difference be? So this is a slightly larger base by the looks of it. Let all the ground load itself in. You see we've got ourselves some turret towers located around the front, a decoy looking pod. Some ships are starting to take shape around here. We've got these little frigate type ones with the missile launchers around the front. Yeah, it's pretty damn cool. Let's have a look inside here as well. So they've got the 3D printer over in this section, a few smaller ships there, and they've got the hangar door here. That's 2 doors attached together, and they've got themselves this nice little hangar. Very cute, cozy interior. Black Dog Industry. So nice little logo usage there as well. So let's continue on. So from BDI, we are heading to the next people in our list. So this is CSR. Let's see what they've got. So CSR, another smaller outpost. I'm trying to feature a few more of the smaller ones because the one-man faction in this, I'm going to be dead honest, in some of the videos doesn't always get featured because they don't have too much to show. And the reason is that they don't have the manpower to actually build a lot. Well, this is a pretty cool little outpost starting to take shape here. It looks like they're working on some sort of mine construction, and they've got themselves a rover. We're using Wizard's Quality of Life mod on the wheels here, so that wheels are more effective and they're more useful even in an aircraft server where both sorts of thrusters are turned on. So let's continue on. So we've had a look at ADI, BDI, CSR. Now we're going to head to the DBS. Now, yes, we saw DBS in space, but this is their planetary outpost, and this place is damn cool. They've got some really unique ships as well. Let's go onto the admin menu and adjust the time of day. Go back to the entity list. So this is the DBS Earth type base. We've got ourselves some small fighters. We've got ourselves this really interesting sort of plumbing type contraption. What is this sort of X-wing type fighter as well? It's got thrusters along the side, plenty of windows going on there. Be interesting to see this in a fight. And they've got themselves a little rotor mini Gatling gun conversion as well as a rocket launcher there. I'm only seeing a few rocket launchers, but I'm guessing the rocket launchers are protected behind here. Yes, I was right. Very, very cool looking ship, and I wonder if these are decoy pods in here or anything. Yes, they are, so that's going to be quite a challenge to take on. Now, having a look around DBS's base, it looks like they've got some more turret little buildings taking shape. Hang on, this is not a turret, this is in fact a miner. What does it say? Checkmate the miner. Oh, it's like a chess piece, I see it. Over here we've also got this type of a robot. I'm not too sure what that one's from. You have to let me know in the comment section below. Looks like he's got some sort of detachable blaster type fist, detachable shield attachment. We actually had an engagement with this with the DRF, and it managed to flee away with doing a little bit of damage to some of the DRF ships. It was pretty cool. And they've also got this giant tower in the center. In front of the tower, their standard printing system. We've seen this a few times on the different server. They've got their turbine printer behind here that rotates as they print, and here they have a little trolley that pulls the projector out. You can see the wheels are located in this little rail. Quite a good system, quite reliable. Up the tower as we go, we have this giant sort of eye missile launching pod at the top. I've not seen this in action. It'll be interesting to see if it works or it gets shot off pretty much straight away, but still a very cool concept. Going inside here, it is mostly staircase and plumbing. I won't get you too excited. You can see there's some car containers and other stuff in there, but a really cool outpost to say the least. If we just dip under here a look, we can have a little bit look at their underground plumbing. Very nice indeed. Their DBS bases are always well plumbed and well looked after from each server season we go to. Anyway, let's continue on. So from DBS, let's have a look who else we can go to. We've got a few. We've got DCL. Let's see what DCL are like. They look like quite a small faction. Yeah, they've just got themselves a little temporary base. They've also got themselves a large miner on the moon, so they're making some steps. So EMD, let's have a quick look at these guys. What have they got to offer? A few bit. Ooh, let's have a look at EMD's planetary base. So it looks like a facility that's still taking quite a lot of shape. They've built it out on one of these ice lakes. They've got some sort of satellite array. A lot of arrays and things stuck on poles in this server for some reason. It looks like they're working on an entrance down here. A lot of incomplete blocks. We've also got a hangar area with cargo storage in there. This looks like it's going to be quite a cool base when it starts to take a bit more shape. So let's work our way down the list. So we've had a look at ESS, and that's what we've just looked at. GLA have built themselves. I wonder if that's the CNC faction. GLA. HOR. Oh, this looks like it could be promising. Let's have a little bit of a scrummy around the HOR base. So let everything load itself in. They've got these giant hangars down here. Oh, look at that. They've got little droney rovers stockpiled in this area. These cool little ring rovers as well. Well, not rovers. I'm saying rovers. I mean ships. I'm so used to the bloody rover server. And they've got an F1 car down here. It surprises you. They go really sci-fi a faction, and then suddenly in one corner they've got one member of the faction who just goes a little crazy and builds an F1 car. Looks like they were printing another drone. of some type. I wonder if these are actually drones or they do have a cockpit tucked inside here. Yes, they do have a cockpit. A little bit vulnerable from the sides of that cockpit. You could get shot out of it, but still, from the front, you are quite protected and could deliver some damage if they're quick disposable ones. What's going on down here? A to-do list. Ooh, lovely little to-do list there. All factions need one. And they've got some more storage going on there. Let's exit through that hangar and work our way back up the shaft. They've got a few different hangars that are taking shape there. And it looks like they built in one of the snowy type biomes. They've got another projector over there, so they must be printing multiple things. And they've got a floating drill rig. Very cool indeed. What's this over in this section? Another one of their ships that's taking shape. A lot of projectors left on here, but of course, since I'm in an offline world, they could be playing on the server right now. And that's just when I snap the server up. So, from HOR, let's scroll ourselves down and work our way through some more of the factions. I'm going to try to get through everyone. ICL looks like another starter base. IMS, oh, this is looking quite cool. Let's check out IMS. So over at the IMS outpost, they've got this giant industrial hydrogen storage facility with these smoking towers on the top. There's float as well. Yeah, it looks like this thing flies. They've also got themselves working on another ship over on this side. They've got these little frigates. When we attacked these guys, these frigates came up and kind of stopped the DRF from causing too much trouble. This looks like one of their printer type vehicles. This is their really interesting printer design. They've got the welders. They've got a big rotor, and so they can, in theory, print off a giant ship, but you've got to be really careful how fast you pull that out, and you can see there might have been some incidents here with these holes in the ground as they've been trying to pull things out and print, but still quite a cool little outpost. There's been a few big drills going down here. I wonder if this has got a drill blade underneath. Yes, it does. That's what's been causing these giant holes. Nothing cooler than a giant cylindrical hole like that. Anyway, let's continue on. So from IMS, let's get back on our list. I wish King could do something where it takes you back to, you know, where you last looked at on the list. So we have IND. Okay, I think we've been there. Yeah, that's just things attached. IPA, another small starter base. We've got IPA in space. Oh, this could be interesting. Let's just check this out. So this is IPA's moon base Alpha. They've got all the ships parked around. It looks like a scrapyard up here. It's like they're trying to print something off in that section, a giant big ship. Let's have a look down in their trench. They've got themselves some hangars taking shape. Gatling gun turrets down here as well. Welcome to Moonbase Alpha. Oh, very cool. I like that signage. We've got the printer system over here. The only issue with printing things in tunnels like this is if you print something a bit too big, it's a right ache to try to get it out of the facility. So more ships there. Quite a few smaller ships. These guys could be a big problem to the DRF, especially stopping them from doing some attacks. Anyway, let's keep going. So as we scroll down, we've gone past IMS, IND, IPA. These sound like an insurance thing. A lot of these do. KJF, another starter one. KOL. Now, KOL were quite big in the last server, but let's see what they've been up to. Let's use this little miner to get us inside. So inside this base, it looks like they're still maybe drilling it out. No, it's just a texture render. They've got the base starting construction there, and they've gone for a tiny little moon base outpost up here. A good way of starting on the moon. It keeps you undetected from the DRF. Let's see if IMS or the other factions have something a little bit more to look at as well, because some of them will have a moon base and a ground base, but there's just so many factions you can see here. So KOL, we can just jump through a few of them. Yeah, it looks like KOL have been mostly operating on the moon for this one. Interesting enough. A few smaller little bases. We've got Lex's base, a small starter green one there. MTC. What's MTC got? MTC look like they've been building big. Let's have a look at this. So they've been building on an ice lake. They've got themselves a giant hangar taking shape. Very cool. They've got themselves a little rover with various different attachments, solar cells, and another bunker over here as well. Very cool. This one's got a big shaft that leads down here. What's going down in this section? Oh, it's like a printing room. Very, very cool indeed. I really like the look of this. But you can just see how much is going on this server, how many different factions are getting involved, and why I struggle to cover everyone. So we've gone through KOL. We're going to have to go past the no zone stuff. Hang on, let's just double check we've not missed anything, because I don't want to miss someone's ground base. MTC, we've been through them. We've gone through the no zone stuff because we don't need to check that. ONI, we've checked ONI out. Yep. We have QIC, another small starter. RSM. So a lot of these grids as well, remember, are either creations that people might have got shot up or abandoned. SGC, let's see what SGC have been doing. SGC were quite a big faction in one of the Mad Max ones. Wow, this looks like quite a labyrinth of stuff going on here. So we've got this small entranceway out in the mountain range. Let's just pop ourselves through the door. The slope leading themselves around through a little trap. Got one door that just leads to, I'm guessing, a hangar. And then it continues going down here. It must be quite a trouble to get something out of here, flying things down and up. Especially getting this guy out. What's the plan of getting this bigger ship out? Building underground, and now it's stuck underground. Maybe they'll try digging the way out. They've got a projector down here and some more ships taking shape. We've got crew quarters in that section. A cool little underground outpost, I have to say. Maybe they're going to dig out this area, and that'll be the exit to the cave. It doesn't look like it, though. But still, very cool indeed. Let's have a look at these crew quarters. Look at that. That's cool. A little room for each one of your crew members. That's just what you need. Right, let's pop ourselves back out of here and see what happens. So, SGC, where do we go next? We've got plenty of options, I think, here. We could go over to the DBS area. We could go back over to another DRF zone. Let's head over to the Drf Control Zone. So the Drf Control Zone sits around the moon, and it's got various different satellites up and different locations created by Conrad. And you can see, if we actually go over here, you can see the control zone in its full presence. It's just a massive area where players can come and attack, battle with DRF drones, and where the DRF can launch attacks from. And it's quite big, and the reason for this is lots of players like to try to cheese the turrets, i.e. they'll go underground and grind their way up, but if you've got another turret covering the turret, they can only kind of pick turrets off on the perimeter, especially if players come in with big ships. This is what they need to face. So let's do a quick final check. Let's have a look at WMC. So they've made it to the moon on this very small looking ship by the look of it, with a few things on the outside. SWI, that just looks like a crate and a damaged base. I'm trying not to miss anyone out. And that brings us back up to SGC and some people who haven't really named the factions. We've got MD, another small starter faction. MTC, that's where we've been, and I guess we've kind of checked everything out there. I've tried to cover as many different outposts in this video as possible. I know you guys want to see a bit more diversity from the small to the larger sorts of bases, but this is what's happening on the Ceverus system. If you're interested in joining, check out the link to our Discord in the description below, and you can find all the information you need to join the LSG server. Anyway, I'd like to thank you guys for watching, and I will see you next time.